The Selfish Path to Romance. Download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com and at amazon.com.
Kelsey, you have a fear of flying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, tell me what happened.
Well, I was flying back from vacation last night, and it was really bad winds where I'm from in New York, and it was just really bad turbulence, and everyone on the plane was panicking, and it was just really bad. It was like 20, 30 minutes of it. We couldn't land, so we had to fly past, and then we finally ended up landing, but everyone was just in a complete panic. I was just, like, crying, hyperventilating, like, it was just so bad, and since then, I got home last night, I've just been having panic attacks, like, I've had, like, 3 since then, just, like, thinking about all these bad things that could happen, and not even just with flying, just, like, in general.
Okay, when you say in general, what do you mean?
Like, I just think about, like, this weekend I'm supposed to go on a road trip. I'm driving, like, a couple hours with a few of my friends, and I'm just thinking about, like, getting in a car accident or, like, drinking too much and something bad happening, or I'm just thinking of, like, every possible thing like that could happen that's bad.
Okay, so let me see if this is accurate. When you were on the plane, you went through trauma. Everybody went through trauma because if you're not a pilot who typically runs into hurricanes all the time and gets this type of turbulence and, is a piece of cake for that type of a pilot, then for us as regular citizens riding on a plane, to feel that amount of turbulence and to feel totally powerless, out of control, we are not at the helm of the airplane, and even if we were, we wouldn't know what the heck to do. So we're necessarily in a powerless situation, and the plane's rocking back and forth, and it's normal to have thoughts of worst case scenarios. So if I drew a line, if I had a horizontal line, like just a 6-inch ruler or so, on the left-hand side I would put the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is what? Dying, right, and knowing that you're dying, right. Worst case scenario is life-threatening. Dying or being maimed or who knows what, or being burnt or you can compound that. You can dream up a million different things. What is the best case scenario? If we go to the other end of that line, Kelsey, and come up with what I call the BCS, best case scenario, what would the best case scenario be during a time of turbulence?
I guess just like landing and getting through it.
Landing and getting through it, everybody breathing a sigh of relief, profusely thanking the pilot for bringing you down, for having the knowledge he had, and then realizing that how many times has that happened when you've flown?
It's never happened like that bad before.
Okay, so it is the worst time it's ever been for you, but normally what? Normally it's an okay ride, maybe a little turbulence, but nothing to write home about?
Right, yeah.
No stories to tell. So already, just by taking that 6-inch ruler, making a line, and on the left-hand side is the WCS, worst case scenario. On the right-hand side, you've got the best case scenario. What about something in between, right in the middle of that line, at the 3-inch point? What would be not horrific, but not the worst case scenario and not the best case scenario?
Hey, I got to interrupt this because we've got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, that's it. A very quick ad, and then Ellen will be back.
Romance. Ugh, I wish guys knew more about what we want from a relationship. Boy, I wish I knew more about what I want. Where's that ad I saw? Here it is. The Selfish Path to Romance. A serious romance guidebook. Download Chapter 1 for free at selfishromance.com and buy it at amazon.com. The Selfish Path to Romance. That is interesting.
What would be not horrific, but not the worst case scenario and not the best case scenario?
I guess just like feeling bad the whole time, like while it's happening.
Right. You couldn't watch the movie you wanted to watch or read the book you wanted to read because your mind was torn elsewhere, right? But you were safe. Right? Or you may have gotten a little bruise on your knee, maybe that when it had some turbulence, maybe you fell and you got a little cut that's going to heal within a week. Not life-threatening.
Right.
Right? So our minds play tricks on us. They usually keep us at the worst case scenario. And what happens when you're in that worst case scenario for almost all of us is that it opens up a file folder that's labeled, what if, fill in the blank. What if something awful happens? And then we can spread it out to the rest of our life. What if I bake the cake and it burns? What if my house burns down? You can just keep, what if I take a ride and I am in a car crash? You just start painting pictures as if you were a horror movie writer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you watch horror movies?
Yeah.
Oh, lady, I would say you need a better diet.
Yeah, I watch a little too much of that worst case scenario TV.
Okay, so I've had little kids come in, I've had medium-sized kids, and I've had all grown-up kids come in, adults, and they have been watching all of those shows on TV. And guess what they typically have? Their file folder.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, their file folder of worst case scenario is just overflowing. They need a whole file cabinet to put in worst case scenarios, so their mind can access that negative imagery very quickly. I recommend doing what? What's at the other end of the line?
Watching happy things.
Happy things. Watch Singing in the Rain. Watch a Disney movie that has a happy ending. Bambi is a horror movie when the mother dies, and it is for kids. But at the other end, you've got what's the Beauty and the Beast. You've got some wonderful movies that you could watch. And if you change your movie diet, then your mind will more likely go to best case scenarios. Plus, you yourself can remind yourself to go to best case scenarios and not get too shaken up when you initially go to the negative side. All of us do. Do you know breathing techniques, how to relax yourself? Any relaxation skills?
No, not really. I would just get myself to laugh and calm down a bit, but
yes.
I don't really know any good breathing techniques. No.
Okay. Well, some of it is just if you ever sang and you had that diaphragmatic breathing, nice deep. You take a deep breath in, and then you just imagine all of your muscles just relaxing, as if they were a sponge that was that had been squeezed, and it can just let out now. You let your hands go, and the sponge goes out. There are lots of good imageries. You can get some relaxation tapes. Some people like listening to the ocean. Some people like listening to bird sounds. Some people have their favorite music. That can also help relax you. You can also go to a website, the FAA website, and check out planes, and not to collect the negative, but to collect the fact that it's very rare that it's happened, but you don't need to do that because you already know that in your own experience. Listen, I hope that helps, Kelsey.
It does. Thank you very much
for
your advice.
Okay, get a good night's sleep tonight. I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner on the Rational Basis of Happiness.
And here's a little more from Dr. Kenner.
Why is it so easy to love our families, yet so hard to like them?
Well, that is one of those questions that makes life so rich, and psychiatrists richer.
And that's from Fraser. And think of the times that you've heard people say that, I love my daughter, but I don't like her. I can't stand living with her, but I love her. What is it that you're loving? Are you loving the good times you have had with her? Are you loving your fantasy of what you wish she would become but isn't? What is it you're loving? And when people live in close quarters, sometimes it's easier to love a relative, an aunt, a friend, or I'm saying a relative, a daughter, or a mother, or a father, when you're not living under the same roof, because you don't observe each other's choices. What time did you come home tonight? What are you eating? What are you wearing? It's too cold outside, you should wear that. You don't observe each other's choices all the time, so you're not in each other's way. You're not in each other's hair.
For more Dr. Kenner podcast, go to drkenner.com and please listen to this ad. Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance, the Serious Romance Guidebook by Drs. Kenner and Locke.
White lies are sometimes used in planning a surprise event, but many people do not like surprise events and feel hurt or duped by the white lies that are used to camouflage the surprise. Consider Sarah's case. For a month, she saw her partner and her best friend furtively whispering to one another when they were around her. They seemed to shun her. When she asked what was up, they conjured various white lies. Sarah felt isolated and she worried about her marriage. When she found out that they had been planning a surprise party, she was not relieved. The party did not make up for that painful period. She had not enjoyed being tricked. She would have preferred having had some choice in who was invited and the pleasure of looking forward to and helping plan the event.
You can download Chapter 1 for free by going to drkenner.com and buy it at amazon.com.